So, real estate investors always buy property for investment. That could be either for return on investment or capital appreciation. So, it's very important that you understand your entry and exit. In other words, when you sell your property. However, before you sell your property, this is one thing that you must understand. You got to be able to differentiate between capital gains and inflation adjustment. A lot of investors usually confuse inflation adjustment for capital gains. That's because, the inflation goes up, prices for goods and services also go up, and you confuse that for capital growth. But in reality, your dollar or your money just lost its purchasing power. So that's the reason why you might have this illusion that your property went up in value, but in actuality, it did not go up in value. It's just that the purchasing power of your dollar went down, so you have to pay more in order to buy the same piece of property. In Dubai, the inflation rate is at about 2.3%, which is fairly good compared to most parts around the world, actually. If you look at the average growth of property, it sits about 10%, which again is much, much better than most parts of the world. And if you factor in the fact that you don't have any taxes, that adds to the value of it. But you need to be able to clearly distinguish the two, okay? Because if the inflation rate sits at about 2.3 and your property appreciates at 10%, then you, in actuality, making about 7.7% in capital appreciation, which is not bad if you compare to most parts around the world. However, there is a way to beat this, okay? There is a way to make more money than what appears, and that's by investing in great property. One of the best ways that you could do this is by identifying branded residences because they're always exclusive, they're limited in number, they usually have a great location and great quality. So this will ensure that your property supersedes the inflation rate. So if the capital growth in a city is at about 10%, you could make anywhere between 15 to 17%, which is very much possible in Dubai. So if you'd like to invest in properties just like this one, get in touch with us. We'd be more than happy to guide you through.